I'm 18 years old and I escaped America.
My wife and I are leaving America.
I was in America. I left America.
America is not normal.
Living in America is a scam.
The American dream is to leave America.
It's time to have a plan to leave.
For $100 an hour job, I wouldn't go back.
It's not as complicated as other people like to make it seem.
Baby, we're moving out of the United States.
When I am in the US, my stress levels skyrocket.
I'm genuinely going crazy.
We deserve to live, not survive.
We've spent the last 4 years preparing.
Chad, how much time do we have to really leave?
Go get yourself a passport.
I'm really fighting for my life out here, trying to defend America.
I was miserable in America.
The United Kingdom have now officially warned their citizens, have warned us to not travel to the United States.
Beauties, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sandy and welcome back to another episode of The World is Ghetto. Yes, y'all, welcome back to another one. I hope everyone is doing great today. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend, and my weekend was going well. And I was scrolling down my FYP and I was seeing a whole bunch of videos within the same topic, and I was wondering, like, wait, are people really leaving America, escaping, as they would say, but not like literally escaping, like you're like in prison type shit? But a lot of people are leaving America. A lot of people who are American are going outside the country, finding out that the American dream is really not the American dream, that actually different places in the world, they're able to live sustainably and this and that. And even for moms, I saw a lot of moms who came in these videos, like literally talking about, like, as soon as I became a mom in the United States, I had to think about leaving because I wanted a better life for my kids, and just a whole bunch of different views from different perspectives of people, which was very interesting. And I can say it's like current affairs because it was like literally current videos going around the people are leaving. So I want to take us down through this, this roller coaster, so you guys can give me down in the comment section your opinion. Are y'all really leaving? Because it got me thinking. It was like, people, we be talking every other day in the comments with my people down in the comments. We be jamming, we be talking, and y'all really not telling me that y'all living. Y'all really telling me that y'all not leaving, like, y'all. So I'm gonna need y'all to let me know down in the comment sections, have y'all been living out America? Is something going on that y'all not really letting me know? And yeah, let's just get right into it.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America. And let's talk about it, because a lot of people say it's exaggeration that you can escape, but let me tell you why it's really not. First, let's talk about credit cards, because that is one of the biggest traps in America. And it's honestly so sad to see like 90% of Americans are in debt, and like they obviously cannot pick up and go to another country. I'm 18 years old and I literally have a credit limit of $25,000, which is honestly so crazy. And I don't mean crazy is a good thing. That is horrible. But that's literally what the US government wants, is Americans to be in debt so they have like control over them. I have a few more things to talk about, but next is inflation and the prices of stuff. Literally 70 to 80% of average Americans just working like jobs, even making $100,000 a year, are going into debt each week. Just because so much prices are going up in America, rent is going up, literally bread, food, anything is going up except people's wages. Yes, it's like that in other countries, but 90% of other countries is not like that. Okay, next topic is college and getting a degree in America. Right now, more Americans than ever before are literally just getting an online job and traveling with their families. I know people who are traveling with their families to Mexico, Thailand, Vietnam, all the Asian countries for less than $2,000 a month. Back to my next point, getting a degree in America literally puts straps on you to stay there for the rest of your life. And you might say, oh my gosh, that's the American dream. Yeah, that used to be the American dream, is to go to college, get a job, buy a house, but now that's like not even possible for my generation. Okay, holy shit, what the hell is that? I need to run. Guys, why is it just on the street? Literally next to shopping, it's just like over there. Okay, but let me preface one thing. It is possible to still buy a house, but definitely not in California where I lived. I bought a rental property in Ohio for about $110,000, which I only needed about $15,000 to put down, and then I had another person put 15. But the only way that was possible for me is I didn't have to pay rent from 16 years old to 18 when I had a job, which I'm extremely grateful for, because I was able to get a job at 16 and just save all my money working 40 hours a week until I was 18 years old. I was actually talking to my sister about this because she went to school for about 8 years to be a physical therapist. And now that she's graduated and has been a physical therapist for about 5 years or so, because she literally cannot move out of the country unless she wants to go to another country and do her degree all over again. So it's basically like you're stuck in America if you literally go to college and get into debt like they want you to. My advice to people my age, open up a credit card, but pay it on time or pay it early. Because credit is definitely good to have when you're buying a house. Obviously you need it, but that is like my advice to people my age, and literally do not go to college. There's so many jobs on social media now that you do not need a degree for. And the amount of money that people pay for college and get into debt for is also a strap on their hand. Like, that's not even exaggeration. If you don't have parents to pay for your college, which 90% of Americans don't, you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life paying college off. It was so sad because in high school, my teachers, they would like tell us how much debt they have. And mind you, they've been a teacher for over 20 years and are still paying off college. Like, it makes no sense to me. I would rather be in debt on a house, bringing in profit, than in debt on college, paying for that. Like, and it's what the government or school doesn't want to teach you. Okay, this video is already too long, but I could go about all this all day. This is why I escaped America. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoy this content, and bye.
I'm just gonna say it because nobody else is saying it, even though we're all thinking it. The American dream is to leave America. I traveled the world for 6 months straight by myself. 4 months in Asia, 2 months in Europe. And no, don't come at me. I've been on my own since I was 18 years old. And yes, of course, I'm blessed to be an American. I'm blessed to have a strong passport. And I'm blessed that I've been able to start my own business and travel the world. But I'm telling you, I've been home for over a year now. There's not one city in the United States that makes my soul feel alive, that makes me feel like I have community, that makes me feel like people are loving and respectful and not divided and judgmental. It's toxic here. We have no love here. People literally think that I'm the crazy one. And I'm like, you guys, we're falling apart. I find so much more love and so much more support, so much more community in Bali. I'm in Spain. When I'm in Italy. When I'm in Thailand. I've traveled to 10 different countries by myself. I'm telling you, being here will strip your soul. I say this because I want to see if anyone else is feeling this way. And if you need help, like, I want to get out as well, and I need direction to make money online and support myself financially abroad, please contact me. I'm a business coach. I can help you.
I live in Thailand, and I was just eating dinner at a restaurant, and the owner came out and was like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from America." And he said, "Did you escape?" And I was like, "What?" Like, "No, I teach English here. I live here now." And I was like, "Oh, have you ever been there?" And he was like, "No, I don't think I like that country." And I was like, I'm not political on here. The fact that someone's even asking if I escaped, like, seriously, might be concerning.
In 2018, I applied for Section 8 in Atlanta, right? We in year 2025. Why they just now accepted my application last year of January, I found out. And they just now found me an apartment. It's 2025, mind you. They just now found me an apartment and sent me the letter saying, "Hey, you've been accepted." That was 7 years ago. You know how many lives I've lived since then? Imagine if I just waited around for that shit. What have I done since 2018? So in 2018, I applied a month after I lost my job. So I lost my job. I thought my life was over. I was like, I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to apply for Section 8. Okay? When I started doing lashes in 2019 of February, I was just down bad, y'all. I was just got done being homeless in Miami, all type of shit. So I moved to Jacksonville because I lost my job. I lost my apartment. This is 2018. I moved to Jacksonville in November. I applied for Section 8 in December of 2018 for Atlanta because I wanted to go to Atlanta. I started my business in February of 2019. So 3 months later, I started my business, my lash business. 6-figure business, by the way. Since then, I went to esthetician school, started my business. I didn't move to Miami. I didn't move to Houston. I didn't move to fucking Bali. I'm now in Thailand. Imagine if I just waited. That's what I'm saying. The lesson of the day is don't wait around for shit. Don't wait around for a fuck thing, because while you sit around waiting, you never know where life could have taken you. That's all I gotta say, y'all.
My wife and I are leaving America and moving to Spain in 6 days. And while a lot of people might think we're doing this because we're running away from our country or because of the state of the world, that is not the case. The reason why we're moving is because we believe in a life where you are chasing your dreams. I believe life is about taking risks. I believe life is about living outside your comfort zone, challenging yourself to grow so you can become the person you're capable of being. And I also believe that life is all about doing it in a way that when you get to the end of your life, you have no regrets. And we had a conversation in Seattle about 4 or 5 months ago. And we said, you know, if we don't do this, if we don't chase this dream of living in Europe, we're going to regret it at the end of our life. And this is something we've always wanted to do before we have kids. And that window is only getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And that really felt like the tipping point. And when I reflect on this a lot, this has been a common theme in my life all the time. I mean, after I graduated college, I went on a solo backpacking trip around Europe, and I did that to really understand who I was, because I started to realize I felt really lost and confused in my own journey, and I had to start to do the work to understand who I am at my core so I could live a life that I'm proud of, live a life that feels like it's authentically mine, true to myself. And then when I got back from that trip, I wrote a book called You Deserve This Shit, which really outlines the simple 3 steps I use to get unstuck, find my path, become the best version of myself, and truly put me in a place so I can chase my dreams. And so I understand what my dreams are, so I can live the life that feels like is one that I'll be really proud of. So this is on a flash sale right now. You can get it on TikTok shop, link below. But we're super excited to be really chasing this dream. We have no idea what's on the other side of it. We do feel like there is something that is waiting for us out there to discover. And that's really what the inspiration and the nudge is to go figure out what else is out there for us, to learn about ourselves, to learn about the world, come back with diverse perspectives. But yeah, we're super excited to move, and we're really, really excited to chase a dream. If you have any dreams in your life right now, big or small, I hope this video is an inspiration to chase those dreams, to seek them, and see what else is waiting for you out there too. So here's to chasing your dreams and doing things that might scare you a little bit.
I want to respond to this comment. The new American dream is to leave. I 1000% agree with this, because I moved from California to Dubai. Best decision I've made, because the American dream that we were taught as kids does not exist anymore. So for example, we were told to go to school, get a degree, buy a house. How are we going to do that today? I'm from San Francisco, and the average house in San Francisco right now is $1.2 million. Who the F can afford a $1.2 million house? And again, this is not even a beautiful house. There's going to be homeless people probably right in front of your house. People are going to be breaking into your car. It's so dirty. It's so disgusting. It's not safe. Like, who wants to live like that? I'm sorry. I have to leave, and I'm glad I did. And to all of my Americans, do you still believe in the American dream? Comment below.
If you're American and you have that itch to leave and move abroad, this is your sign to do it. I was miserable in America. I was 50 to 60 pounds overweight. I didn't know what I was doing. There's my toast. I felt like I was going to be forever alone. I had no sense of self. I moved to Ireland in 2018, and I found my now boyfriend. I lost 50 pounds. I found a new career path, and I made some of my best friends, and I traveled the world. So if you have that itch, do it. It might not be you, it might just be America.
America is not normal. America is not normal. Story time. So, if you've never seen me before, I live in Tbilisi, Georgia. I left the United States in 2021. I started in Mexico, got residency, decided it wasn't the right place for me. I've lived in 7 countries. That means at least 3 months or longer. And now I'm currently in Tbilisi, Georgia. I'm actually in the laundromat here. I did a previous video about some tips, but America is not normal. And I'm gonna tell you why. So, I signed a lease, kind of a long-term lease here in Tbilisi, Georgia. And I pay in cash. Well, that was before I got an account. So I'm paying in cash, and he comes to my apartment to pick it up. So when he was coming, I asked him to bring me a copy of the contract that we signed. He was like, oh, I thought I did, or whatever. He was like, okay, I don't have it with me now. I'll come by in a day or so and do it. So 2 days later, he comes by with the contract and to pick up the rent. Now, you all know, as Americans, rent day is rent day. And so in my mind, I was already preparing for some type of confrontation, right? I had already decided I'm not going to pay a late fee, right? Because I had already had my explanation, my argument put together. Like, I was waiting on you to bring the lease. So you decided it took you that long to bring the lease, right? My whole argument, you know how we do in the United States, right? And so I'm like, I was ready to tell him I'm not going to pay a fee. And then I was thinking, well, what if he says, well, if you don't pay, then you're going to be evicted. So I'm trying to think through, okay, so how am I going to handle this situation? So anyway, he comes, he brings the contract, and I'm prepared to give him the rent. So we're downstairs, and there's a co-working space in my building on the bottom floor. So I go in there and I sit down and I say to him, I said, listen, I don't think I should have to pay a late fee because, you know, it took you a long time to bring me the contract. I didn't say that I wasn't going to pay you the rent without the contract. I just said to bring the contract, and you decided not to come pick up the rent. So that's not my fault. He was looking at me baffled, like, what is she talking about? I was like, you don't remember this conversation? I was like, I have the notes, I have the messages on WhatsApp, so I can prove my point. And he was like, I'm not charging you late rent. I don't understand. I was like, oh, I just want to be clear because I know that there is a clause in the contract about late fees, and I don't want there to be an issue, and I don't want you sending the police and putting a note on my door and trying to evict me. He was like, evict? This man said, in my 40s, I have a family, I manage 15 properties. He said, I have never seen anyone evicted from their apartment. Never, not a friend, not a family member, not me. Never. I've never seen anyone evicted. So, you know, y'all, I'm in shock. Because, you know, in America, if you're a couple minutes late, you got a note on your door, they done changed the locks. Listen, you out on the street. He was like, what do you, he was like, we would never do that. Like, why would we do that? I was like, so what if somebody can't pay rent? Like, what if, he was like, he said, listen, if you ever have an issue with rent, just call me and we'll figure something out. Y'all, I was blown away. I was blown away, y'all. I was baffled. The way we live in America is not normal. People are not so aggressive and disregarding your humanity. Like, he couldn't even fathom the fact that I thought he would possibly put me out of my apartment. It made no sense to him, okay? That's number one. Number two, buying a house. I bought a house in my life. Maybe you bought a house in your life, right? You bought a house in the United States. You literally have to give them your left liver and your auntie's ear, right? Just to get to the process, just to get approved, just through the process. And you're biting your nails the whole time. You're waiting. There's all this paperwork. You get approved, that your job is good enough, that your debt to income ratio is right, yada, yada, yada. Listen, here, they have properties that you can buy as an American. Right? You want to diversify your investments, which I do recommend. So let's say if I were to buy a property, and the properties here are pretty inexpensive. I'm talking about new construction. Let's say I were to buy a property for $50,000, and I have some money, but I don't want to get a loan. Right? I can buy a property here. They will say, okay, it's $50,000. Pay us 10% down. And we'll go ahead and do the construction. It'll take about 2 years for the property to be built. And then you just pay a certain amount of money to us every month until it's paid off within that term, and we're good. What? What about the interest rate? There's no interest. What? What about the credit check? There's no credit check. What? What about me showing proof that I have a job and that, you know, I deserve to live here and I'm not a criminal and yeah, that, you know, my debt to income ratio is right. It's like, that's not how things work. So when I tell you the way that we live in America is not normal. It's not normal for someone, for the state or the government or whoever you want to call it, or the bank to take your home from you because you missed a property payment, or for the HOA to take your home because you missed a couple of HOA payments. That is not normal, y'all. That's not the real world. Now, I'm not telling you that there are situations where people get loans abroad and things like that. But the way that we are treated in America and the expectations that are put upon us that we think are normal, and we think we're always falling short, that we're not good enough. Oh, I don't have perfect credit. Oh, I don't have the right debt to income ratio. I've been evicted in the past, so I don't deserve to have a roof over my head. That is not how the rest of the world operates. The rest of the world doesn't think we have to prove our worth as a human being to have shelter over our heads. The way we live, well, you, because I'm not there no more. The way you live in America is not normal. If you've been considering leaving the United States, 1, set your leave date. 2, valid passport. 3, join my wait list and get some help.
Guess who moved out of America? Yes, my wife and I have officially immigrated to Canada. The epitome of standing on business, okay? My favorite compliment is when people tell me that when me and my bookie say we're going to do something, we do that. We get down and we do not play. So watch us pack up while I tell y'all everything we've done so far. Okay, so boom, we packed up our 2-bedroom apartment. We did amazing. We got everything boxed up perfectly, took all the TVs down. Like, the movers didn't have to do nothing for real, except move the boxes. Even the movers were impressed. They couldn't believe we did all of that ourselves. They're basically saying they typically just have a lot more work to do in other people's homes. I just can't really understand why it took them 4 hours instead of the 2 hours that they told us it was gonna take. But that's neither here or there. Their help was still greatly appreciated. Anywho, our things are still en route to Canada with the movers. And some of you guys already know that we decided to drive from Atlanta to Toronto. Let me tell you why we decided to drive. I know some people assumed because it was the more cost-effective route. Nothing about this move is cost-effective. If the goal was to save money, I promise you we would have not landed in Canada. But I digress. We decided to drive because your girl is a wedding photographer. The day we left, I had an engagement session in Atlanta. And then the very next day, I had an engagement session in Washington, D.C. And then we went to go spend some time with my family in Pennsylvania. Plus, we didn't want to ship everything with the movers. Things that can't be replaced, we kept with us. I mean, we're just girls, so you can imagine how many irreplaceable items that we have. On our route to Canada, we had to stop at the border to fill out our work permits. That process was a breeze. There was no wait, and it took no longer than 45 minutes. Today, we toured 3 potential townhomes that we wanted in the Greater Toronto area. We're looking to rent, but it feels like we're going through the home buying process. You have to put an offer on the property, and if you want a stronger offer, you have to put up more money, and it's just a whole little fun process. We toured a property today that we loved, so finger crossed that we secure it. We also decided to get Canadian phone plans. Your girl is a wedding photographer, so I just wanted to make sure that I'm able to comfortably communicate with my couples here. My new website is almost done. I'm so excited to finally be opening shop here in Ontario, so if you are engaged, hit your girl up. Everyone we've encountered here has been so extremely nice and helpful. Literally, my comments have been a walking green flag. Huge thank you, and I can't wait to keep you guys updated on our new journey.
Just in case no one's told you today, it is literally now or never, by the way. The United Kingdom have now officially warned their citizens, have warned us to not travel to the United States, and if we do, to be prepared of the heightened risk posed by the border and the new Trump administration. Historically, this has never been done by the United Kingdom or the United States, besides literally during 9/11 and the previous world wars. This is, of course, days after British, German, and other European tourists have also been detained for days, weeks at a time at the border. This is, of course, weeks after Trump has basically appeased Putin and has agreed to be a bystander to the invasion of Ukraine and practically any other European country that Putin has his eyes set on. I absolutely hate saying this as your friend from across the pond, but there's going to be a point where we are not going to have any international influence to help you guys because Trump is literally making that quite literally impossible. He's isolating America. How does nobody see that? To the extent that they will confiscate your phone at the border, and if you have anything that is negative towards Trump, they will literally ban you from the USA. So if you're an American watching, you really have to have the fight in your belly right now because it is truly now or never. I literally cannot say that any louder.
Book a one-way ticket out of the US if you are trying to save money. I think all of us can agree that it has become ridiculously expensive to live in the US. Many of us are living paycheck to paycheck and just continuing to accrue debt. And honestly, the only way that I saw out was to sell my house and to move to Bali. And if you don't have a house to sell, that's okay. Take what money that you have in savings and book a one-way ticket to an affordable country like Indonesia, Thailand, Ecuador, Colombia, Vietnam, Cambodia. The cost of living in these countries is less than $1,000. You can probably get it to $200 to $300 for a month. You can stay in hostels. You can house sit for people and have your accommodation completely calm. You can pet sit as well. But slaving in America is not it anymore. We are not the land of the free. We are the land of the slaves. We are common day slaves. All we do is work, eat, sleep, repeat. So if you're sick of struggling and living paycheck to paycheck, the only way that I see out is to leave the US indefinitely. And take it from somebody who has already done so last year. Life is so much better abroad.
One of the biggest reasons why I am moving my family abroad is because I became a mom. Personally, I've always wanted to live abroad. But once I became a mom, I realized how important it was to get my family out of the United States. After spending almost 3 months here in Portugal, it is very apparent how little we care about our children and families in the US. Let me explain. Here in Portugal, I don't feel shame for being a mom. Meaning if my child has a breakdown in public, no one gives me the stare. Everyone is so kind and so patient. On the trains, there's designated spots for those with children. Women who are pregnant or those with children are given priority seating. I've never had to wait in line when I have my child with me. Staff at restaurants and establishments always acknowledge my daughter, and they make her part of the experience. Even though my daughter is considered a lap child on the flights, she still gets her own seatbelt connected to mine. Children are absolutely valued and cherished here. They aren't seen as a nuisance. And in many countries in Europe, paid parental leave for both parents for up to a year is normal, when most people in the US don't even have access to 12 weeks paid. Since I've been here in Portugal, I send my child to school safely. I spend time with my family. There are so many playgrounds for her to play at, and so many family-friendly activities for us to do. Since living abroad, our family has experienced so much joy, peace, and ease.
Let's talk about this. Why are women wanting to leave America? And hi, if you're new here, my name is Kara. I'm a digital nomad mom and I help people live and travel abroad. I offer consultations for people who want to live abroad, and this is something I keep seeing. And side note, if you want to book a session with me, just click my profile and go to my link. So why are women wanting to leave the US over men? In a recent poll, 40% of women wanted to leave the US versus 20% of men. But why is that? And it really got me thinking. It's because of much of what's happening in the US isn't affecting men. Let me explain. There aren't any laws being made about their bodies. As of last month, at least 24 states in the United States have some sort of ban or restrictions coming. This impacts women. Inflation is currently at an all-time high. And many women now are not only just working, but they're also mothers. We have no protected paid maternity leave that is universal. Instead, it is dependent upon your employer. And in many countries, women are given up to a year of paid maternity leave. We don't have any subsidized childcare. The average cost of childcare in the US is $14,760 annually, which is $1,230 monthly, which means you are paying rent per child just so that you can go to work. So now many women are forced to choose between their careers and childcare. And if they choose the latter, you are now dependent upon your husband for livelihood. And for the women who want to be stay-at-home moms, inflation is so bad right now, and the cost of living is so high, they can't. Mothers are often the ones fearing for their child's safety when they're going to school, because women are kin keepers. The definition of a kin keeper is a social role usually assumed by women to protect and promote relationships in between the family, meaning we carry the mental load of the family. 9 times out of 10, we're making the doctor's appointments. We're packing the school lunches. We're the ones involved with the PTAs. In summary, our roles as women have changed dramatically in the past 50 years with a lot more responsibility than our counterparts. And that is why we are seeking a soft life. But unfortunately, a soft life is not very accessible in the US. We want to spend more time with our families. We want more time for ourselves and the things that make us happy. We want to know we can send our children to school safely and have access to nutritious food for them, which is why women are at the forefront of this movement, trying to convince their husband to leave.
If you're going to leave the United States and go live in a different country, you still have to have a permanent address somewhere unless you're going to give up your citizenship. So what everyone does is they say, yeah, that RV park over there, I live at that RV park. And then they file what's called a declaration of domicile. And I have filed over 200 of these in the past 2 months alone for people leaving the United States. And nothing gives me more pleasure than helping another person leave this country right now.
I wouldn't go back. For $100 an hour job, I wouldn't go back.
Interesting.
I would not go back at all. Getting up in the morning, doing what you have to do, and rushing to go and punch the clock to make somebody else rich. You get to decide what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it. And us, we work really hard. So it pays off because we're working for ourselves instead of giving all our energy and everything to somebody else to make them rich so they can live a good life. In the US, we're kind of groomed to be an employee. You know, work for someone.
Like my friend said, he's in Ohio. He said, I have tried four times and I have to go back.
Really?
Yeah, 4 times. He said, man, I wish I can do it. Everybody wanted to come home. About 90%. Who wanted to get up in the morning and go and clock and, stress? No. Everybody wanted to come home, but they're scared that when they get home, the money will get finished and then they have to go back. You know, when you are in overseas, you might think that people like you, family members love you. But when you come here and stay, their attitude is different. Yeah, I think Ghana is expensive. Ghana is not what you think. When you convert the money to dollars, you might think that it's not expensive, but the money runs like river. So when you come and think that Ghana is cheap and you are coming to spend your money, like United States, you can't last. You will go back. Now, I don't think about to become a millionaire. I just want to live my simple life. If I can buy something, whatever I want, I can buy it. I'm okay. I don't want to be a millionaire.
235 acres. We farming our own chickens, homie. Thousands of chickens, thousands. Running around everywhere, quack, quack, quack. Talk about next level shit, homie.
Leave the US.
Do it. I'm doing it next week. If people are saying it makes them want to leave the US, they're feeling correct. They should. I am doing it in 7 days. They are welcome to join me. Message me privately for my flight information. I'm going to Tanzania.
Is it going to feel better there?
Yup. Because nothing that is here is there.
What are the things here that are making you feel bad that are
white
not
people? White people and everything that white people make and do and say.
You are white.
I am.
And you're going there.
Yep.
Are you going to infect it with your whiteness?
No, I never infect it with my whiteness because I just observe and listen and ask how I can be helpful. I don't put my business in anybody else's business. So I just go, hey, I'm just here hanging out. If anybody wants help with anything, let me know. And that's what I've been doing for 8 years. And everybody there welcomes me and I feel very welcomed there. And I feel so much better there. And I think most people from the West who go to places like that feel better there, and they don't feel good in places like the US or developed, wealthy nations. That's the problem. Capitalism is the problem. It's one of the many things, but yeah.
Y'all, living in America is a scam. I truly believe it's a scam. I just did the math and we're all being scammed. It's so bad. I'm about to show you guys the details because the numbers don't lie. And I've tried to make this TikTok like 10 times, but I keep going on rants and it is like becoming 10 minutes long. So I'm going to make this as short as possible. But if you don't know who I am, my name's Jax and I just got done living in Sydney, Australia. I was there for a year and then I just moved back to the States right before Christmas. And I've been having such a hard time like getting on my feet and I was so confused why. And now I know money does not go as far here and we're being scammed. And here are the details. Let me just show you. So we're going to get right into it. So here are my weekly expenses in Australia. So I'm going to do everything based off of weekly expenses because that's what they do in Australia. That's kind of what I'm used to right now. So here are all my weekly expenses in Australian dollars, which is about 552 Australian dollars, which equates to about 360 US. That's my weekly expenses, across the board. In Australia, I made 32 Australian dollars starting as a barista. Very good wages. That's about 21 US dollars an hour. And that is not including, I've made very, very little tips, so I'm not including any of the tips, but that is my starting rate for like a weekday. On weekends, I made more than that. On public holidays, I made double, which they have like tons of public holidays. So if you're living in Australia, work every public holiday, trust, you'll make so much money. But yeah, that's my just base rate. I was like, that was the starting rate for baristas. And like, obviously if you're there longer, like this is very normal for a barista in Australia. Now, this is where things take a depressing turn. So these are my weekly expenses for America, for Columbus. So these are all, I tried to compare everything like as closely as I could. So this $250 rent is kind of like, I had a 2-bedroom apartment in Australia, and that's similar for 2-bedroom in Columbus of like similar quality. I deducted, is that the right word? I don't know. I didn't include the car stuff. As you can see, I took it away from the total because I did not have a car in Australia. And so I didn't want to like script the numbers. But if you know, you basically need a car in America. And we're going to get into that later. But $565 a week in America, the craziest thing ever. Like right off the bat, $200 more. And then it gets crazier. Let's talk about wages. So it's, an average barista in America makes 11 to 18. When I was a barista, I made $15 an average with tip. But I'm going to say 18. We're going to go on the high end of that scale, right? $18 an hour. So already less money. But the way I think of things is based off of like, if I'm buying a pair of shoes, I'm like, okay, how much is this? How many hours of work is this, shoe going to cost? So in America, just to live on average, not including a car, just to live on average, it takes 31.38 hours of work a week just to live. That's before you get into savings, before you start traveling, before you go to restaurants. That number is insane. Sorry, cut off on me. That number is insane. That needs to be studied. And it's very depressing. Like I said, not including a car, not including a $200, this is pretty average for a car. Crazy, like the craziest stuff ever. Now, if this doesn't make you move to Australia, I don't know what will. 17.15 hours of work in order to cover my baseline expenses. That means after 17 hours, all the hours I worked, which I worked a lot of hours in Australia, went to traveling, went to shopping, went to drinking and partying and like having fun and doing things that made me feel alive. That is crazy. The comparison of the two is actually, it makes me sick to my stomach. And I'm going to go take a long bath because I need to just process this information. But yeah, if you think that living in America is, not a scam, I would reconsider this. I was living in one of the most expensive places in Australia, in the world, honestly. And I still felt like my money went so much farther. So yeah. Loves it. Love it. Love you, America. Good luck to all you Americans out there.
I'm tired of living in the US. I'm leaving America to move to a country that I've never been to before. I don't know anybody who has been there. I just booked my one-way flight and I'm wondering where it is. I'll tell you. I'm moving to Albania. Now, I know you might be thinking, where the hell is Albania and why would you go there? And if you're black, you're probably thinking, do they even like black people? I don't know much about that last one. We're going to have to figure that out together, but we'll talk about the first two. Why Albania? So I chose Albania mainly because of the lower cost of living, easy visa process for Americans. One thing I want is a walkable city with a lower cost of living where I'm able to enjoy myself, go out, meet people, and still have a great base to travel from to other countries around Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. And Tirana gives me all of that. Apartments in Tirana go for around 450 euro to maybe 800 euro if you're looking for a really bougie apartment. US dollar in Albania goes very, very, very far. If you're looking for day in the life videos, cost breakdowns, I will be doing those. So those are the reasons why I am moving to Albania.
We left the United States a little over a week ago, and I am so grateful. I'm so thankful to have gotten both of our children, both girls, out of the United States. It is scary over there, and I didn't think we'd be able to leave. We're not the type of people who have a bunch of money. We didn't come from money. I didn't think it was in the cards for us, but we did it, and I'm very proud of us. But one thing that I feel like not a lot of people discuss is how emotional it is. It's emotional in a good way, like, oh, thank goodness we did it, we're out. We've so proud of ourselves, right? But it's also emotional in you're leaving behind everything that you've ever known. the life that you've always lived, the places you've known, the places you've eaten at, the places you've visited, gone. Everything you've known does not exist. That's really hard. We are originally from Texas. We lived there for over 30 years. I did. And then we moved to California, lived there for 2 years. And now we are currently in Albania for a little while, and we'll figure out our next steps. Our end goal is Spain. And life is very different. Life is very different here. It's different from anything we've ever known. It's very emotional. It's very emotional. It's very hard. I've cried a lot. We've only been here not even a week. And I've cried most nights because I think of the memories that we will no longer get to have. I think of the view from outside of our apartment in California and what it might look like in the weather, what it is right now. I think about my family living their life in Texas and going to like H-E-B and Whataburger and just continuing life. And like, I'm not doing that. I think about people walking in and out of Target. Like, it's things like that. I know it seems small, it seems insignificant, but once you cannot do those things anymore because they don't exist where you are, it makes you emotional. So it's been an adjustment for sure, and we're still adjusting. We're just barely getting on a semi-normal sleep schedule, and the memories keep trickling in, and I cry a lot, especially at night when it's quiet and still. It'll be okay, and I know it will.
So I moved to Mexico for 3 months, and it ended very short because I ran out of money. I moved with $20,000 that I saved up, and I told myself when I get to 10K, it's time to go back home. Because if you ain't making no money and you down to 10K, go back to America, get you a place again, because that's enough money to get you, set up in a new spot and you not be like struggling. So I go to Mexico. I drove to a whole bunch of different cities and states to see where I wanted to live. But initially I was going to Mexico City. I ended up going down to Oaxaca too, though. The Airbnbs and the tolls on those highways was eating my money the fuck up. Plus, I was eating out every day, so that was too. But the real reason my money was getting eaten up so bad is because there was no income coming in. When I went out there, I said, you know what? I'm about to do content. I'm going to do it every single day. It's going to go so good because I'm going to be posting all this content in Mexico. Like, how could it not do good? And I still do wholeheartedly believe that it would have did good. But why was I slacking so fucking bad when I went out there? I was not posting. I had a whole big ass list of content ideas for Mexico. I barely did any of them. So after 3 months, 10K is what I was left with after only 3 fucking months. I loved Mexico so bad. Like, the people are so nice. The food is so good. The weather was good. Like, it was just a really good atmosphere. I loved it there. And I loved how much they loved my son and my dog. Like, it just felt like everybody was family. Leaving was not part of the plan. I never wanted to leave, but I had to because I didn't want to end up homeless. Coming back to America, getting me a place in my hometown at that, where I was already living before I went to Mexico, making me just restart. It really, like, I just be looking back like, wow, you stupid bitch. And in the moment, I didn't think I was a stupid bitch because I'm like, no, like, this is really what I want to do so bad. Like, this is going to be great. Like, I know. But the way that I did things was so fucking wrong. So when I be saying, like, oh, I'm so dumb and I made dumb decisions, I'm not saying moving to Mexico was a dumb decision. I'm saying how I did it was dumb. Because, bitch, why didn't you have no money coming in first? Like, that was really stupid as fuck. So now I'm back in my hometown. Again. Starting over. Again. And it just really irritates me just to think, like, bitch, you could have had it all. And now you got to start over. Again. But I am a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. So, I try not to be hard on myself, especially because I can't get it back. So, it's like, you can't go back in time. So, why even regret it? But I just know that this come up is going to be so good. Like, really starting from the bottom. Again. And I just feel like this is going to be the best one. Especially because everything I do, I always learn from it. Every single time. So, I know now, like, stop being so fucking retarded and impulsive. Because I am so impulsive. Like, I think of something, I'm doing it. and I had to start thinking twice. But one thing I do know is I'm so sure that it was a minor setback for a major comeback, or whatever that saying is.
If you are a citizen in the United States of America and you need to leave the country as fast as possible, there are a few things that you need to make sure that you have. It's not as complicated as other people like to make it seem. It's not as complicated as other expats and travel influencers like to make it seem. It's simple. It is simple. You are overthinking it. You are overthinking it. Your ancestors fled with nothing on their back and nothing on their feet, with dogs and men with guns chasing them. Stop fucking making excuses, okay? Number one, if you have a passport, I need you to make sure that you have your passport with you at all times. If you do not have a passport and you are unable to get a passport because you are not technically a citizen or do not have the rights to receive a passport in the United States of America, there are other ways. Please just say something in the comments or send me a DM and I can make another video on that. Aside from that, for the people that keep saying they don't have the money, you do have the money, okay? If you have a consistent paycheck, I don't care if that deposit is coming into BOA, if it's Capital One, if it's Navy Federal Credit Union or another credit union, wherever you have your checks deposited, whether that's a Social Security check, whether that is a paycheck, whether that is child support, wherever the most consistent money has been whatever account that the most consistent money has been going into, that is the account that you need to be going to. That's the bank that you need to be pulling up at. You need to be speaking to a supervisor and you need to be asking for a low interest loan. I don't give a fuck if you never pay that loan back. Fuck them. Okay? Hear what I say. I don't give a fuck if you ever pay that loan back. Fuck them. This ain't about that. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't about that. This is about you getting yourself and your family to fucking safety and to freedom. Freedom. Okay? Let's say you're pulling in $2,000 every few weeks. Or 2,000, 2,000, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter what the amount is. And the money has been consistent and it's been going into BOA consistently every 2 weeks because you've been working at this job for years. I wouldn't give a fuck what the job is, as long as the money is consistent and the bank account can see, the bank teller can see that the money is consistent. They will give you a loan. They will give you a loan. They will give you a loan. Take the 5,000, right? Take the 5,000, ask for a little bit more than you usually get. If you usually get about 2,000 every few weeks, then double that. You want to ask for 5. If you get, a little bit more than that, then ask for double that. It doesn't fucking matter, okay? Take that money and leave. Take that money and leave because you deserve fucking freedom. Do you understand me? Take that money and get the fuck. Fuck them. Fuck them.
The thing that I think most Americans might be unaware of is that this whole right-winged extremist fascist thing is happening everywhere. Every country has their own variety and flavor of Trumpism right now. So if you're wanting to escape, that might not be the right mindset to be going with. You might want to think of which variety of this thing that you can handle. Maybe you can't handle the version that's going down in America, but I guarantee you'll find a different version in Europe. You want to go to Italy? You want to go to Scandinavia? It's happening everywhere. South America, Asia, Africa, love my motherland. I'm just saying, you might not want to think of it as an escape and more of what can I deal with? Which variety of this right-winged this right-winged extremist thing can I deal with? Because it's happening everywhere.
If TikTok is banned, I will be moving out of the United States expeditiously.
Even if it doesn't get banned, do it anyway. After Roe was overturned, me and my husband decided yeah, that's our cue. We always wanted to move abroad, but we were going to wait till he retired. Military brat, he's from there. I was originally thinking more of the 5-year plan. Somewhere in the middle of last year, he was like, absolutely not. It needs to happen before the end of 2024. Shit's going downhill and it's going downhill fast. You can get dual citizenship in another country. I would highly suggest checking that out. My husband's mother's from Mexico, so he can get dual citizenship there. Very few people in our lives at this point know that we are moving. It's really just our family and friends that are close to us. But our biggest question is how did you even decide where you're moving? Where do you start? I started with the Global Peace Index. Pull that baby up and look at the top safest countries, and your precious United States is at the bottom of the barrel. I just researched from those countries, what's the safest country for women? What's the safest country for children? For minorities? For raising families? How's the cost of living? What's the healthcare like? I have a disabled child, so how do they treat disabled people? Homeschooling also. We homeschool. It's important to us to continue to homeschool. And it's always another big question. How are we gonna make income, right? What are we gonna do when we move over there? Last year I started doing UGC, and finally I'm at a point where I'm making just under $4,000 a month. And I do it very lazily, honestly. My husband's been a career firefighter for like over 10 years. He quit last summer and he's been doing investment in real estate now, working from home. That's going really well. He's also a disabled veteran. If you're a vet and you don't have 100%, get the 100%. If you know, you know. He chose to hire a relocation company. It's surprisingly affordable, 10 out of 10 recommend. They're literally holding our hand through this entire process, telling us exactly what to do, what to fill out. They've got like trusted resources throughout the country, like 10 out of 10 recommend. I've been wanting to post about this so bad because I want to encourage other families who want to leave, who feel maybe trapped, that they can leave. We have 4 children, the oldest is 8, the youngest is 2, and we are getting out of here. It is possible, even if you have young children or have a big family. Whatever questions you have, let me know. I'm going to be posting.
I live and work in Spain, making roughly 1,000 euros a month, which in America is nothing, but in Spain is more than enough to live. I only work 16 hours a week, and I'm able to afford a super nice apartment in the city center of Madrid. Food costs me 20 euros a week. My electric bill is like 30 euros a month. I don't have to worry about gas or a car payment or insurance because the public transportation system is so world class that you don't even need a car at all. Madrid is like the New York of Spain, except if you were living in the city center of New York, you'd have to be making literally at least $5,000 a month, and that's extremely lowballing it. Just their way of life in general, like, is so much more relaxed and just taking time to enjoy life rather than just working constantly. They literally have a siesta in the middle of the day where they take 3 hours to go nap or go to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. Like, the American mind cannot fathom. It's just crazy to me because, like, you've been told growing up your whole life that America is the best country in the world. That's just so far from the truth. And it's, like, very obvious how much worse it is now that I've gotten out.
Really, really, really great point. Not only is the food poison though, but I would say so is the culture. Right now it's I think it's like 2:22 here in Spain. And everyone's getting on a break to get off to come eat with their families. People are picking their kids up from school. We're getting off work just to have a meal together. Is that nuts? But the crazy thing about that is nothing's gonna change until at least everyone notices. For example, if you have a boss that wants you in the building every day at 6 a.m. and you're leaving the office around 10 or 11, that's how my last job was. You don't have time for 4 meals a day. You don't have time for a nap. You don't have time for anything outside of working and figuring out what food you're gonna eat until it's time to work again. I woke up this morning at about 8:15. I went to bed at 11 and I didn't log into work until around 11 a.m. And believe me when I say this, I'm already done with work at 2 p.m. I'm on the way to the grocery store to get more food. And then I still have time for lunch and a nap.
Y'all, as an American living in London, I'm really fighting for my life out here trying to defend America. I cannot tell you guys how many times someone has heard my accent and realized I'm from America and they're like, oh, America seems cool, but I would never move there because y'all have too many guns and y'all get shot every single day. Which, to be fair, is a valid point, but I'm like, I don't know if I've just become so desensitized to the rampant gun violence in America that I'm just like, okay, like it's not that deep, which is horrible because it 100% is that deep. But I'm just like, I'm shocked. Like literally all Americans are known for overseas, because this hasn't just happened in London. This has happened in quite a few other countries as well. Everyone just, when they think of America, they think of guns. America is synonymous with guns. And I'm just like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what to say because we also don't know what's going on. Like we don't know why our politicians are putting profits over lives. Like nobody knows what's going on. And I just feel like every single time somebody comments on it, I'm just like, dang, like America has so much more to it. But to be fair, like there is a huge gun violence problem. I don't know. I'm running out of things to say. Like I'm running out of things to say, ways to defend America. I feel like patriotic Patty. And I really want to say, give America a chance. Like, yes, there's a lot of gun violence, but there's so many other things that America has to offer. But like, that's an issue. Like nobody wants to visit a country and be worried for their life. Like this is so bad. And I generally just don't know what to say anymore.
I can't do this anymore. I'm moving out of America in the next 3 weeks by any, and I mean any, means necessary. I'm genuinely going crazy having to live in a toxic American capitalist society, but they say if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So although I have less than 2 months left on my lease and I'm trying to find a subleaser and the odds are stacked against me, I'm gonna pack up and get ready to go. So I went out and got a storage unit and started setting my stuff up because I'm not gonna sit around and wait for somebody else's confirmation. I also sold my car yesterday.
I'll never forget you, girl.
I'm convinced that by physically removing my stuff from this space, that it will no longer be mine. Like, I'm so close to being fucking free. I literally feel it. I see it on the other side. She's over there living her best life. Look at her. So although I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do it or where I'm going, I can guarantee you I will be out of this apartment in the next 10 days and in a new country by the first week of January 2024.
I left America 6 months ago and my life is infinitely better. Let's talk about it. First things first, I've talked about this in other videos, but it cost me around $1,000 to leave the States, which is significantly less money than I ever anticipated. And I think it's a really important thing for everyone to be talking about, that it actually costs a lot less than you might think to leave the US. Since moving abroad, these are the things that have improved in my life. First and foremost, my physical health is infinitely better. Why? The food is better. The air quality is better. I'm happier. I'm less stressed out. Medicine and healthcare is way more affordable. Like, we're talking apples and oranges. People are nicer here because they are happier here. It is significantly easier to cultivate community in a place where people are trusting and loving and empathetic and kind. And I cannot stress this enough. My central nervous system is relaxed and calm for the first time in my life.
Please, if you are seeing this on your For You page, I need you to stick around and listen to this full video because it could save your life. This brings me absolutely no pleasure to say, but it's time to have a plan to leave. Whether you plan to implement it immediately or not, at the very bare minimum, you need to have an exit strategy ready to go. Trump has set up concentration camps, sanctioned the ICC, and now laid the legal groundwork necessary to commit a genocide here in the United States in black and white on the government website. This isn't the content that I had planned today, but I just feel like I can't sit without providing everything that I know to you guys and all of the resources that I have on how to leave the country safely. I'm a US citizen. I was born here, raised here, grew up like any other random white person here in the United States. And as an adult, I got my dual citizenship for a country in the EU. And so I want to share what I know on that. I also, before I got my dual citizenship, I left the country on my own at the age of 21 with no money. I was homeless before I left the country. So I know that a lot of people are worried about money and things like that. And so I'm just going to go ahead and try to share every single piece of information that I can. And the first thing that I want you to know is that if you do not already have your passport, please, 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 whatever you can do, get your passport as soon as possible. Whatever you can do, get your passport as soon as possible. I'm going to be creating a playlist and adding all of these videos for all these different situations and countries and options for different types of marginalized people in a playlist here. And if you have any questions or you think that your situation is too difficult or you don't know a way to find out how to deal with your situation, you don't think that you have any options, please leave your questions or anything like that in the comments and I'll do my best to try to help you guys figure something out. In disasters strike, there's something called the normalcy bias, which affects 70% of people. So it's a bias that makes you think that since things have always been normal, they're just going to continue to be normal. And that's what makes us woefully underprepared. That's what keeps us in harm's way. So even if you think everything will continue to be normal, please just have a plan. Just have an emergency backup plan. If you are someone that the normalcy bias does not affect, you're freaking out, you want to get out now, you are really upset, but you don't want to do it alone, I'm going to tell you right now, you might have to. You might have to. There's going to be a lot of people that you're not going to be able to convince. There's going to be a lot of people that you're not able to save. And you're still going to have to do what's right for yourself and your immediate family. It is better for you to leave first and to set up a soft landing for your other immediate friends and family overseas than it is for you to stay in danger with them and then nobody has an option to get out. I understand that some people may want to stay and fight, That's your prerogative, but not everybody is willing to risk their lives and their safety and their livelihoods. So I personally feel like this is a very deeply personal choice. But even if you are still planning to stay and fight, I still think you should have a plan in place. So get your passports, save every dollar that you're coming across, every single dollar, and leave a long comment, share, repost to help me get this information to the people that need it.
So we are moving to Mexico and we are leaving tomorrow. My husband left Tuesday and he is finally in Mexico, crossed the border just fine. Actually, it took like 8 hours, so I don't even know if I could talk about all that. But everybody's asking me why we're moving to Mexico, so I wanted to give you a little story. So my husband, his whole family is from Mexico. He's got 2 kids there. He hasn't seen his family or 2 kids in over 12 years. One of his sons is 20 and the other is 15. And when I first met my husband, he was like, listen, you can have half of my heart, but the other half is to my kids. And I'm like, I've got my kids too. And I'm like, you know what? I totally respect you for that. And I love you for that. He's the best dad in the world. And while we have created our family and we've had a wonderful life here in the United States, I felt like he was never completely happy because he was missing half of his heart. And the type of dad that he is to our kids now, and even to my kids, like, I know that even though he's, happy, he's never fully happy, because how can you be without your kids when you're the best dad in the world? So yes, we want to go because we want our family to be whole. We want all of our kids to be together, and honestly, we want to live a calmer and slower life. We literally have built businesses here. We've busted our butts. I've had an amazing career in the financial industry world, and we work. And then we get a couple of hours at night at home with our kids. And then the weekends are spent running to games or doing this or doing that. And then Sundays cleaning and laundry and all the things. And you just get tired of it. And life goes so fast. It's like, why not enjoy it if you can? So we've spent the last 4 years preparing to move, making sure like my online businesses are functioning and making money. We've got our house down there. It's paid for and just all the things. Fun fact, I had to block his son on TikTok because it's a surprise. Nobody knows that we're coming except for his brother. And so I feel bad, but we're going to surprise his kids. And I just cannot imagine what that's going to feel like for my husband and his kids. Like, I get emotional just thinking about it. But anywho, so my husband and I met when we were in our 20s, early 20s. And then we dated, and then we lost touch. I got married. He went back to Mexico, had another son. And then after 10 long years of being separated, I went through a nasty divorce. And I went out one night and ran into him. I didn't notice him, but someone grabbed my arm and was like, amor. And like right away I had this like feeling like, oh my God, it's him. And we've been inseparable ever since. So we dated in our younger 20s, and then we got back together in our 30s, and here we are over 10 years later living happily with a beautiful family. And I just am so excited because I know that things are only going to get better when all of our family is together and we're whole. So that is a little bit of background. Sorry it's a little bit longer of a video. Continue to follow along on our journey. The best is yet to come. We will all be together in Mexico tomorrow. So woo, can't wait. Love you all. We'll talk soon.
So I don't know what to do. I really badly want to leave the United States. I would be gone tomorrow if I could make it happen. And my husband doesn't. He thinks that someone's going to save us. He thinks Congress or checks and balances or Democrats or someone is not going to let the worst happen. And I don't know how many other ways to try and convince him. I don't think that's going to happen. I want better for us. I want better for our kids. I want them to have a worldly, cultured childhood, and I want them to grow up in a better place than this. This is not a good life. And he's an engineer, I'm a nurse. We don't make a ton, but we're fine, but not here. This sucks. How do I get him on board with moving away from the United States?
Listen up, if you are a US citizen, either by birth or naturalization, if you are traveling within the next few months, just keep in mind that when you are entering the country, they can put you in a room and take your phone. This includes your laptop, any type of electronics, cameras as well, and they can go through it. So I would suggest that if you are traveling, carry a burner phone with you, or if you have photographs, if you have things that are on your social media that might trigger anything. So this might include anything against the administration or anything regarding human rights, humanitarian causes. Just delete everything that is on your phone. So like delete the apps, delete anything, and factory reset your phone. Just make sure that you have everything backed up in cloud. And then once you cross the border, just make sure that you re-download it. So whenever you are traveling, either carry a burner phone or just do a factory reset so that way they don't have access to your phone. You do not have the same Fourth Amendment rights that you would when you are on land. So they are allowed to seize your phone, and some of the individuals that I've spoken to have had their electronics confiscated and then mailed back to them after a few weeks. So just keep in mind that is something that's going on, and just be cautious about what you have on your phone because they are allowed to search it.
We are very, very seriously starting to consider leaving the United States, and I just want to hear from someone who's done it. Where did you go? How did you decide that's where you're going? How did you get a visa? Do all of that? I'm definitely like researching on my own, but like if there was someone I could connect with who's done this before, like I just would love to utilize you as a resource. And yeah, if we can help one another, please.
Fun fact, Americans can live in Albania for a year without a visa. And then you can leave for 3 months and then reset the year. You know where you can go for those 3 months? Schengen zone.
Top black countries for black people trying to escape the US. I put together a little list for us because I'm getting the fuck out of here. At least I want to. So I'm planning. I'm being proactive. Number 1, Thailand. I know it's far as hell, but it is so inexpensive to live in Thailand. The food is cheap. The housing is cheap. They have excellent private care. You can stay up to 30 days without a visa. So those 30 days you can work on actually getting your visa. And then after that, you can stay longer. I was looking at people who already live there. They have a growing black expat community. The people is cool. They friendly. Yeah. Top of list. Costa Rica. Costa Rica is actually my number 1. I meant to swap these two simply because Costa Rica is closer. It's affordable. In particular, the Caribbean side of Costa Rica for the black people, they have a huge black expat community already established. You can stay up to 180 days without a visa, and that's fabulous. However, you do have to have a return ticket requirement, but if you come back after 180 days, you can just go back and start your 180 days over. I think people was saying about Costa Rica, though, is that it's very jungle-like. Not in the jungle, but very rainforesty. And I don't know about that coming from a dry-ass climate like Denver. But it's top of my list. That's probably number 1 because it's so close. And politically, they usually tend to stay pretty neutral. So we're not caught up in like a war if it break out. Next is Portugal. I'm going this spring to check it out. It's in Europe, and it's also one of those places that is kind of neutral. They have a growing black expat community. It's rather affordable to live there. Living in Europe is nice because you can get to anywhere in Europe so quickly and for very cheap. So Europe is on my list. I know that it's still a colonized area and whatnot, but I still like the ideal of Europe because it's modernized and it still kind of gives me the vibe of the US. But this would be a more chill, laid back situation. And I think Portugal's on the coast, so there may be warmer parts of Portugal. Next is Mexico. Mexico used to be number 1 because it was a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's cheap in Mexico. They got good healthcare, like private healthcare. My plan was to buy an investment property in Mexico. I was looking at Tulum. Mexico City has the biggest black expat community. Mexico was just top of stack. However, considering the relationship is getting pretty heated between the US and Mexico, I really just don't know. And then he's sending a hell of people back there. So it just seems a little shaky right now. Still on my list though, but I would start probably at Costa Rica, and then I might jump over to Portugal, and then really try to get to Thailand.
Americans are getting deported abroad.
So while we were living abroad, we actually met multiple American families that decided that they were just gonna up and move to South Africa without any of the proper paperwork, without the proper visas, etc. And when they got caught, they were told they had to leave the country and were banned for even applying to come back to the country or coming back into the country for 5 years. And so other countries, they are not out here playing with us. If you pick up your family and you move somewhere because you're just so afraid of whatever's happening, like, we'll figure it out later. As soon as they catch you overstaying that visa, baby, they will tell you, your whole family, everybody has to get out. We literally have met people that this has happened to. So if you are planning to leave the country, please live where you want to live. Live your best life. Just do it legally, because it's stressful. We've seen people literally try to go in hiding in other countries, and the thing that happens to them when they're hiding in other countries, we saw those same people get evicted. We saw them getting taken so much advantage of because they're like paying up all in cash and stuff up front. They're trying to hustle to make money because they're trying to operate under the system, and continuously over and over again, they get taken advantage of, their stuff gets taken, their car gets taken. Like, they're having to pay off police when they're getting pulled over, because the police will also take you to a detainment center. They'll take you to jail, actually, and then you're going to get deported. Like, multiple people this has happened to while we were living abroad. They're talking about, oh man, they got arrested. We're like, where the person? Why they not at the meetup or whatever? They got arrested. And they were asked to leave. Like, this is what's actually happening. So no matter how urgent you may feel it is for you to leave, please do your due diligence and get the proper paperwork, because you don't want to find a place that you really want to live, go there, and then end up deported and actually like banned from coming back to the country for years.
Now that I left the United States, this is the main thing that I realized. The United States be bullshitting us. They be literally capping, they be lying, they be fabricating, they literally lie to us our whole damn life. Do you know, when I was in New York, in America, I used to research where to go, how to go to Thailand, how to go to Bali, how to go to all these damn countries. And do you know what I found out? All these countries are very dangerous. Don't even step foot in Thailand, because you're gonna get robbed. This is the most dangerous place you're ever gonna be at. Yeah, I've been here for almost 3 to 4 months. I've been in Bangkok, I've been in Chiang Mai, I've been in damn Pattaya. Yeah, nobody's arguing, nobody's fighting, nobody's dangerous out here. There is nobody killing, nothing, zero, nada, nothing what the hell they told me that was gonna happen in America. And I came over here and it didn't happen. They're lying to us. But one problem is the news. Did you ever realize on the news, when have they ever spread positivity about somewhere? If you are watching the news and it's talking about a different country or a different place, is it good news or is it bad news? So again, if you want to continue getting brainwashed by the United States, if you want to continue listening to the news and listening to what the hell they got orchestrated over there, yeah, you're going to get brainwashed and you're going to be living in the past. I was in Brooklyn, New York. I was in America. I left America. Way much better living, but stay over there if you want.
If you're thinking about leaving the US, you won't have that option long. And you might be thinking to yourself, he's saying that because what, the Orange Goblin is going to prevent me from doing so? Indirectly, yeah. As the tariff war continues, inflation continues to increase, which means your spending power decreases. Maybe you're banking on your stocks. Well, it looks like we're in the midst of a recession, so those asset values might be going down. Remote work federally? Remote work or jobs period are in jeopardy, because as corporations struggle to remain profitable as the cost of goods increases, they will always turn to layoffs as a way to keep their profits high. The point I'm trying to make is that there are subtle and not so subtle things that this presidency is really doing to keep a firm grasp on Americans, keeping them inside of this ever-going hamster wheel.
I'm leaving for Greece in just under 2 weeks, and this is why I can't wait to leave America. Number 1, groceries are so much cheaper abroad. Number 2, the food is so fresh. When you live abroad, you start realizing how overly processed our food here is in the US. Number 3, the cheap coffee. Every time I go to Starbucks, I spend minimum $6. I can go get an espresso for 80 cents somewhere in Europe. Free joy. We don't have enough of that here in the US, but in Europe, you can just walk right out your door and you have all these beautiful landscapes. You've got parks to enjoy, cute little outdoor cafes. You honestly don't have to spend a lot of money to enjoy your life there. Being stress-free. When I am in the US, my stress level skyrockets. There's just so many things to be stressed about here. Healthcare, mass shootings, the cost of living, the political climate. Yeah, I'm much happier abroad. The ease to travel. When I'm in Europe, I can travel so much easier because the trains and the flights are so cheap.
It's late and I'm doing some research about asylum. So specifically for Canada. So if you guys are interested in that, stay. I just like to be prepared. I'm a single mom. I just need to know what my options are, and I'm getting a lot of things lined up. So if you guys are also doing the exact same thing, yeah, this is going to be great. All right, I'm going to go over 3 different ways. So I'm on the UNHCR website. So that's going to be the UN Refugee Agency. It's going to be on the Canada one. So there's a worldwide one and there's a specific one for Canada. That's the one you want to look at. And I'm going to go over a couple of options, okay? So if you want to claim asylum in Canada, there's going to be 3 different ways that you can do it. You can claim asylum upon arrival at the Canadian airport. You can claim asylum at the land border, or you can also claim asylum from inside of Canada if you have already gotten in there. So the first one I'm going to go over is claiming asylum upon arrival at the Canadian airport. So if you guys are going to be flying in with your family, this is how you would do it. What is going to happen is that if you ask for asylum when you arrive at the Canadian airport, immigration officers of the Canadian Border Service Agency, so the CBSA, which is Canada's law enforcement agency responsible for border control, they're going to take your photo, they're going to take your fingerprints, they're going to verify your identity, do a security screening, and ask you some questions. They will also tell you about the next steps to follow for your asylum application, okay? So if they pull you aside, don't be scared. They're just doing their job. Now, this second one's probably going to be important, especially if shit hits the fan and everyone's going to like dip out and try to get to Canada. This is going to be more claiming asylum at the land border. This is going to be a lot to read, so I'm going to just kind of try to see if I can rush through it real quick. Under the Canada-US Safe Third Country Agreement, which is the STCA and its protocol, you cannot make a claim at the Canadian border, and you will be turned back to the US unless you qualify for an exception to that agreement. The first exception is if you are a US citizen, automatically. You're able to seek asylum there. If you are a stateless person who have lived in the US for a significant period of time, if you have a valid Canadian visa, work permit, or study permit, if you are under 18 and your parents are not, you are allowed to seek asylum in Canada, guys. For those of you that are my minors that are like freaking out and you guys don't have anybody else here, you don't want to stay here, go to Canada. If you face the death penalty in your country or the United States, if you have close family members who are living in Canada, or if you have crossed the Canadian border irregularly in between official land borders. So if you're just going through and you don't hit a land border, or you're just fleeing the country on foot, I was like, you can claim asylum 14 days past your arrival date to Canada. And then third, you can also claim asylum from inside of Canada. All 3 of these, you are also going to have to do the same thing as the first one. So they're going to take your fingerprints, they're going to take your photo, they're going to verify your identity, all of those things. Okay? If you want to look it up, I'm going to post it right here. This is it. This is more of it. And another one. You're welcome.
More than half of Gen Z wants to leave the United States. And the reasons cited for wanting to become expats, 25% want better social programs like universal health care. Cost of living accounts for 18%. Politics, 17%. Almost 60% of respondents cited gun violence as a reason to move abroad. While getting out of Dodge can seem like a major decision, it's not at all drastic.
This is your message to leave the United States. I'm definitely leaving, and people keep asking me, what are your cues? When is it too late? First cue, is the media being silenced? Yeah, but only slightly currently, right? The office is now controlling exactly which news outlets can cover them. Small version of control, but will it get worse? Who knows? All the mass deportation, problem for me. I'm already part of a community that is marginalized, so see it done to another community, that doesn't make me feel good. But when I say you should leave, most people hear, oh my God, we gotta go now. Woo-sa, that's not what I mean. Because true fascism takes time. So everyone relax. See, she's relaxed. My goal is to leave by June. You may or may not have longer. Just put yourself in a headspace where you can start to plan and conceptualize you being in a different country. That, along with you taking actionable goals and doing this in phases, will make you more prepared if the situation did get more dire, but also just give you a more stress-free way of approaching it.
You know who I'm going to be keeping an eye on are the Obamas. If they leave, and they could definitely write it off as, you know, like, we're just retired, we want to go live in another country, but if they leave, I feel like that's my sign that I should probably go too. This is not professional advice, obviously. This is just my take, and that's who I'm going to be watching for.
Why I left the US and will never go back there. The biggest reason why I will not be returning to live in the US is because it is a failed society. I don't think that Americans realize that the way that they live is not actually normal when you compare it to the rest of the world. It's not normal to not have healthcare. It's not normal to be in crippling amounts of debt from going to school or going to a hospital. It's not normal to be afraid of gun violence, for there to be a threat of gun violence in your school. It doesn't matter if it's a developed country or an underdeveloped country. It's not normal to only have two choices when it comes to politics and who runs your country. It's not normal to have a 79% literacy rate and half the country cannot read above a 5th grade level. My family and I immigrated to the United States when I was 5 years old. And in that time, my mom worked herself to the bone. We barely saw our mother because she was always at work. She never had time for herself. She's barely gone on vacation. Her life has literally centered around work for the last 25 years. And so my mom essentially sacrificed her life and her happiness in order to work. And when I returned to the US after living in Europe for 3.5 years, all I was doing was working. I would wake up super early in the morning, commute for 1 hour, go to work for 8 hours, commute for another hour, and then I would have 2 hours to myself before I had to go to bed in order to do the same thing in the morning again. All for 2 weeks of vacation time. And I want you guys to know that this is not normal. In some countries, the minimum that an employee will get off of work is 6 weeks. In some countries, women get years off to spend with their newborn child. After my mom gave birth to my brother, she was back at work after 2 weeks. When I was going to school in the US, I constantly had anxiety that our school was going to be shot up. And this is not normal. I want you guys to understand it, because when I was talking to my friends who also went to school in the US, they said the exact same thing, that they always had anxiety that someone would come into the school and shoot it up. And so I essentially chose peace when I decided to leave the US. I do not feel any sort of allegiance to this country because the US does not have allegiance to me as a Black woman. Black women are overwhelmingly more prone to experiencing poverty than any other ethnic group in the United States. Black women are also more likely to die in childbirth in the United States. It has one of the highest maternal mortality rates. And so why should I choose to work myself to the bone for decades to get nothing in return, to not even be able to retire comfortably for a country that doesn't care about me?
I left the US 8 months ago, and something that shocked me is that nobody likes America except for Americans. And even a lot of Americans don't like America. When I learned that people have no interest in visiting the US, I was shocked because I thought, isn't the US one of the best countries in the world? But I think that's what they teach us in the US. People think Americans are loud, disrespectful, unruly, obnoxious, pretentious. One of my European friends said, you know, I typically refuse to hang out with Americans, but you're all right. When Americans come to Japan, they're usually shocked that Japanese people don't speak a lot of English at all. And they'll say, why don't they speak English? But you're coming to someone else's country where they speak their language. Why don't you learn their language if you want to visit their country? For some reason, we also have to measure everything differently. Feet, inches, miles, pounds, Fahrenheit. When everyone else in the world uses meters, kilos, and Celsius.
It's sort of become natural instinct for people to defend immigration when it's under attack by saying things like, well, if you kick all the immigrants out, who's going to work? Who's going to work in the fields? Who's going to work in the factories? Food's going to get more expensive. Can we as a collective take a step back and just recognize immigrants are people before they are workers. They are your family. They are your friends. They are your neighbors. They are people worthy of safety, protection, and peace, even if they're not working, even if they're not producing anything, even if they're not contributing to the economy. They are people deserving of everything that anyone else has.
If you're an American traveling in a foreign country, you need to be so careful when they bring you your check at a restaurant. They will overcharge the shit out of you if they can. It has happened to me so many times, and it just happened tonight. I ordered an appetizer, an entree, and a side, and the appetizer never came, only the entree and the side did. And then when I get the check, the first thing I notice is that the appetizer was still on there. So I point that out, she goes and fixes the check, and then she comes back. The second thing I notice is that the entree, it was $12 on the menu, but she charged me $14.95 on the check. And so I was like, I know this is overpriced, and she was like, no, that's correct. And I said, please bring the menu over. And then I pointed at the $12 on the menu, because like, what the fuck? So she goes and fixes it, then comes back like sulking, like slaps the check on the table, doesn't say good night to me or anything. I just am not exaggerating at all when I say this has happened to me so many times. I will never forget the time in Peru when this guy was helping me call a cab at the airport, and the cab driver told the guy that was helping me it was going to be $7, but he said it in Spanish. He was like, siete. And then when I asked the cab driver directly, he told me $10 in English. And so I was like, bitch, I know how to count to 10 in Spanish. I literally just heard you say $7 to him. Like, I'm paying 7. You just have to be careful, because if you're not paying attention, like, they will fuck you over. It's happened to me so many times.
We deserve to live, not survive. It's not a radical thought. It's not a crazy think piece. It's 2025. What the fuck is the point of technological advancements if not to improve the lives of human society? Everyone should be housed. No one should be hungry. There is no reason for poverty other than human greed.
The Wall Street Journal recently came out with an article talking about the worldwide efforts to reverse the declining birth rates, and it's really interesting to look through the lens of Europe versus America. We all know that in Europe they have more socialized services like healthcare, paid paternity leave, transportation, and they also incentivize families to actually reproduce. There are tax credits, there are access to cheap loans. There was also an incentive to have zero income tax through the course of your lifetime if you choose to have children. And what they're finding, regardless of the financial incentives specifically for women to reproduce and have children, they still don't want to do it because it's more of a social choice than it is a financial choice. They also go on in the article to talk about the people that want to have children don't care about the financial incentives regardless. They will still have the children. And for people who are on the fence about having kids, the financial incentives don't encourage them to reproduce. Some of the women that were questioned and interviewed in the article talk about they wanted to finish their bachelor's degree, they wanted to own a car, they wanted to purchase a home, and then they ended up getting older and older and realizing that they don't actually want children. They like the stable life that they have built. It's a very similar concept to a lot of women deconstructing the ideas that they don't actually want to have kids. We have just been told that we want to have kids, and we have to be the ones that untangle from that. It's interesting to look at it from an American perspective as well, where in America, they aren't even incentivizing us to have children. They are just stripping our bodily autonomy away. What kind of family planning and family encouragement is that?
My immigrant mother just called me on the phone innocently asking me if she should start carrying her passport in case they start doing mass deportations to prove that she's a citizen. It's so sad.
Chat, how much time do we have to really leave America? I'm planning to leave in June, but do I need to leave earlier than that? Obviously as soon as possible is better, but realistically speaking, someone tell me how much time we got. The clock is ticking. How much time do I actually got to get out?
Y'all, I just left. Now I'm on my own and I'm walking across the bridge. This better be the right way. But yeah, guys, my heavy suitcase I'm carrying, and I just feel so emotional right now. But yeah, guys, obviously I'm gonna get through it like I always do. But Canada's really right here. Nah. Oh, y'all look. Oh my God.
Baby, we're moving out of the United States in 2 weeks. Do I even need to explain why? Look, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I've tried everything that I could try. Literally, it's just not the life for me. I've been everywhere here in the States. I've experienced everything I wanted to experience, and so have my kids. Still, with the income I receive a month, let's just say the math ain't mathin'. When I look at how much I make a month, I should be in a very, very, very good place in life. And when I say good place, I mean I should be at so much peace. I should be living with so much ease. Instead, I'm here in the States, experiencing anxiety, depression. I never even knew I had anxiety. I never knew how stressed I was until I leave this bitch. I've always been a very minimalistic person, a very frugal person. I believe in, baddie on a budget. That's just me. If I got it, that doesn't mean I'm about to spend it all. Like, that's just not me. I'm tired of living the fast-paced life. I'm tired. I'm just tired. My kids are already homeschooled. I had to take them out of the school system because it's failing our kids. So why would I be somewhere where we're not thriving mentally, physically, emotionally? We are here just existing and just following, and we're in a rat race. So I'm taking me, my 4 kids, my mother, and now my brother. He wants to be on this journey as well. So I'm taking them and we're getting out of Dodge. So yeah, it's time to pack because the house gotta go, the cars gotta go, everything in this gotta go. Okay, everything. I'm selling everything. I'm getting rid of everything. I'm excited though. It's just it's that rush. I love it, of excitement, and I just know where we're going, and that alone lets me know it's the right thing to do. Yes, I am a very spontaneous person. No, I don't have everything in order. I know I need to get a lot more in order because I got 4 kids, but it's gonna work out. But I just want to encourage people who are wanting change to change. Make that change. Take those risks because that's where growth happens. And I want y'all to follow us on this journey. We don't know exactly where it's gonna take us in the end, but we got some ideas. We're gonna put out some plans and we're just gonna execute. Now I'm not telling y'all where we're officially moving, but in 2 weeks when we do move, we will be traveling as nomads. We're just gonna go all over and experience different places first, and then we're going to go to our official destination, and it's far. That's what I'm gonna say. It's far. It's over 20 hours. That's all I'm gonna say. Flight. That's all I'm gonna give y'all. But yeah, that's because y'all gotta follow us on this journey. So stay tuned for more. I'm trying my best to keep this camera rolling for y'all. But today, packing. Oh, but if you were wanting to live out of the country, where would you go? Comment where you would want to live and let me know why, so I can get some more ideas, you know what I'm saying, just in case we need to go explore those places sooner. All right, talk to y'all soon.
If you're thinking of leaving the US and moving to another country, here are some consequences you need to know. Obviously, this is going to vary a little bit country by country. I moved to England, and here's what I learned. It's going to be really expensive. Many countries, including the US, the UK doesn't really want you here. You're going to pay the visa fees. They have to be renewed every so often. You have to pay every time. You have to pay an immigrant surcharge. That's an extra fee to participate in the NHS. That is on top of all the taxes and insurance that you pay like everyone else in the country. You pay essentially a tax for being an immigrant. Something I'm starting to feel, especially now that I'm about a year out from this move. I had a really thriving career in New York City in the theater industry. I was a freelance playwright, director, directing assistant. I worked everywhere. When I left, I was like, I have such good relationships. We're gonna keep in touch. We're gonna keep working together. And I've already started to feel it all drift away. I found making relationships in the theater industry here extremely difficult. I mean, I have an agent in New York City, the whole thing. And my agent's having a hard time getting me in touch with people. It's a very insular industry, which may not be the case for your industry that you're in. I think it's applicable even talking about friends and family. Everyone has the best of intentions. They're going to come see you. They're going to keep in touch, but people have to go about their lives. So life starts to get quiet, which at first is nice. After you've moved, you're like, oh, thank God the chaos is over. And then it starts to get really quiet, and you got to figure out who am I going to be here? How am I going to invest my time, my attention, my care here where I am now, instead of putting too many eggs in a basket across an ocean, to be honest.
It's not safe to travel anywhere in the United States. If you're not a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, travel is
rough right now. Everywhere I go, every news I see, every immigration attorney I talk to, every family member, every case I get is people traveling. So the reality is no, it's not safe to travel right now. There's immigration in Dallas. There was immigration in Puerto Rico, which is Camila Munoz, my client, got picked up there. There's immigration in New York. There's immigration in San Diego. There's immigration in Utah. Immigration is everywhere.
Then there's all the TikToks telling Americans things like,
it's fucked. I think the new American dream is to leave.
Yeah.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America.
Yeah,
The
you don't
fake
have
laugh.
to escape America. That wall we're always debating isn't to keep you in.
Part 2, because this guy is literally a joke. Look what he goes on to say.
It's a crime. Cute story in the news last month.
He's comparing one country.
Burundi's president called on his citizens to stone gay people. And
Do you see what he's doing? He's literally fear-mongering Americans to say, oh, if you go to another country and you're gay, they're gonna stone you. But in America, it's totally legal. Like, who is paying this man? And notice how he adds the fake laughs. I doubt there's even an audience that is laughing at every single thing he says, because nothing is funny. And his audience are literally 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds who are brainwashed from their whole life into thinking America is the best country. The funniest part is this guy is showing my TikTok and it literally proves my point of how you have to escape America. And I don't mean when I say escape America that you literally have to like crawl under a border to get out. But I feel like most people know what I mean. Like you have to escape the mental institute of it. And in America, they literally make you sick. Everything's about money in America. I know we've all seen this girl. Look what she feeds her 1-year-old for breakfast. Like these donuts right here are not even food. These are all like chemically made. And it's literally made to make you sick and crave those foods more. And then she feeds her this applesauce, which is probably not even real apples in it. No hate to this girl. She probably doesn't know any better because that's how Americans are grown up. Into thinking this food is healthy or it's actual food. But it's literally just chemicals to keep you sick. And then you go to the hospital and pay like $10,000 to get checked up. That is what I mean when I say I escape America, because you're escaping all of that.
I don't know if you saw this video from Barcelona where a bunch of citizens and residents of the countries were mass protesting against tourism by interestingly spraying tourists with water. It was an interesting tactic that I don't necessarily agree with, but what I find very particular is the comments under the video. To give you a good synopsis of the comments under the video, we can summarize it by, they should be lucky that we go and visit their poor ass country. Tourism is the only thing they have and look how they treat us. And okay, let's relax. One of the reasons I don't like the comments is because nobody was actually thinking outside of themselves for a moment there. It's as if they were the ones actively being sprayed with water. Now, I'll admit, if I was in Barcelona and a group of tourists came and sprayed me with water, I'd be pretty upset. And I probably wouldn't be in the right headspace to make a video like this. But I'm not over there, I'm over here. So let's think clearly for a second there. We mostly understand that if a country's main financial income comes from tourism, there's probably a systematic failure there. We can try to understand that tourism is fun for the tourists, not for the locals. As tourism begins to increase in the country, the locals' quality of life reduces significantly. They can no longer afford rent because rent skyrockets, food skyrockets, all their goods and resources skyrockets because now there's a new source of income coming to their country. Not to mention the fact that tourism is extending to be gentrification, because look what's happening in Mexico. People are leaving third world countries like America. That's always funny to say. But people are leaving the world leaders to go to other countries to live because they cannot live in these countries either. But as they do so, they either socially, financially, economically destroy the lives of the locals. That being said, once more, I would not like to be sprayed with water if I was in Barcelona, but this is coming from the perspective of the good tourist. And I get it, because here you are saving your money to go to Barcelona to have a good time, but then you get sprayed with water by a bunch of protesters. But most of these people in the comments are not in Barcelona, and neither am I, and so we can actually sit down and reflect on the bigger issue here. I think this course of action can reflect their despair for this to end. They need a better quality of life. And there are plenty of reasons for them to believe that tourism is the cause of most of their problems. That being said, I believe the target is just misguided. It shouldn't be the tourists, but instead their governments. Anyway, bitch, I'm starving. Oh.
This is to all my American friends. Go get yourself a passport. Like, go get a passport if you don't have it. I feel like with everything that's like happening right now, you're probably becoming aware, if you have never left the country, that like things are wildly, it's not even like it's new to us, like it has been wildly messed up for a long time, but it's more like, oh, you could just go somewhere else and live like a very different good life. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I just like
packed my bags, put my stuff in storage. Hi, puppy. Oh. I'm literally just here by the beach right now. But you could just put your stuff in storage and then like catch a flight and go somewhere else to another country where like life is not so stressful. And it's like not $1 million to survive, like to live, or like $4,000 for rent a month, which is like actually crazy. So anyways, yeah, that's all.
Me and my husband are actively looking to possibly move out of the country. Might be a bit dramatic, but also no. I've got a sleeping baby over here and my toddler is watching Octonauts. But honestly, things are getting crazy, and the Cheeto Man has only been in office for what, a week? Not even a week yet. And the amount of things this man has done already is literally insane. But we are seriously looking into other countries to move. So I need some advice in the comments. If you moved out of the country, where did you move to? Because we are seriously looking. So I'm very interested to hear in the comments if you're thinking the same or what. So give me the good, the bad of these countries, and we will look into them.
I apparently blew someone's mind today when I explained to them that American passports are $165 each. They're $165 each. So for a family of 4, that's nearly $800 just to get passports, and that's not including fees. So it really is more like $800, if not more, once you factor in fees and everything. And like this person on Twitter was like, I may have to rethink what I think about Americans, because y'all are a lot poorer than I thought. And yes, that's it. Like, something like 48 to 52% of Americans do not have a passport. And this is partially why. Also, travel just within the United States, domestic travel, is prohibitively expensive. Most people, like, there are people who will be born in their state and they will never leave their state. There are people who will be born in Texas, die in Texas without ever leaving Texas, because you can spend all day just driving through Texas. Like, it's insane. I think it's more than a day. Honestly, let me look up how long it takes just to drive across Texas. So north to south, it's about 800 miles. So about 12 to 13 hours of driving time across Texas. That's just one state. Like, there are people who are never going to leave the United States now for a host of reasons, but that's certainly one of them. And like, people here are poor. I work in a public library. The people I see every day are poor. These are not people who have a passport. Like, our education system is such that most people would not even know how to get one. They definitely can't afford one. They can't afford a bus pass, all right? Like, people aren't leaving. It's not like you can just hippity hop on a train and like bippity boop over to Canada. It's not how it works here. It's not how it works. Also, he's probably going to do the Insurrectionist Act on April 20th, and it's, I think, going to be a lot harder for people to leave. It's already very difficult and very dangerous for people to leave and then try to come back. It's very dangerous for people trying to enter the country at this point. And I think it's going to become significantly more difficult to leave if they do this. And white people are, as my friend Joe said, going to start experiencing what people of color, black people, brown people in this country have experienced for a long time.
So the president has discussed this idea quite a few times publicly. He's also discussed it privately. You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken our nation's laws repeatedly. And these are violent, repeat offenders in American streets. The president has said if it's legal, right, if there is a legal pathway to do that. He's not sure. We are not sure if there is. It's an idea that he has simply floated and has discussed very publicly as in the effort of transparency.
Right, child, in my opinion, after watching this whole video and coming to see all these different perspectives and being someone who was born in Africa, lived in Europe, lived in America, seeing different views of the world, I would say the biggest thing and the reason why a lot of Americans are finding out that the American dream is not really the American dream is because even when I was living in Africa, for example, let's talk about when I was living in Africa, right? When we're back there, the media is going to literally, they were pushing a lot of videos. Oh, America is the land of the free, of opportunity. Once you just dip your toe in, like I'm telling you, it's everything. It's like everything was nice. Never heard nothing about police brutality until I came here. When I came here is when I started learning a lot of things, like from the media and just watching a lot of criminal shows and seeing like a lot of like news, like even everyday news surrounding. You will see a lot of police brutality because I was so naive, and I started catching up real quick and being like, yo, they really done messed up. The media is such a big buffer between letting people know what's going on, because you know they edit so well to making you think that, oh my god, that is it. And therefore, so when different people, immigrants come here, they end up finding out like, yo, this is really not it. Like, you worked your ass to death, bro. And it's a cycle. It's like a cycle. You kept in like credit cards, just like the guy was talking about the credit. Imagine at 18 years old having a credit limit of 25,000. Someone would think, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. But no, when you go even in different places, like I be telling people are richer than y'all in America, because like even for example in Africa, I would just say this: when you buy a car, you're literally paying that shit off the same day. Ain't nothing about credit history, ain't nothing about like, oh, you're gonna have a financing to where like you're messing up, you're taking like 10-20 years to pay off a car. Hell no, these people are actually richer because they pay off shit immediately. They're not put in a cycle of craziness. It's just that this different continent, like another lady was saying, yes, you gotta pick your poison. Everywhere in the world is not good. Like, you might go to a different place, yes, you think, okay, there's no gun violence, but there's a different type of issue that you need to now adopt. Like that girl was saying, it's not really, if you think about it as escaping, then it's such a weird mindset, because it's gonna make you feel like, you know, you don't fit in wherever you go. But when you take a look at it, like, I'm experiencing like different version of myself. Like I heard another guy was talking about he was just going to find out like how he wanted to find himself just through living in different areas, different environments and stuff. So it's just a lot. The media is the biggest buffer in my opinion. That is the biggest buffer. And then for people in America, like they would tell them Africa is like poor as hell. Y'all don't even want to go there. It's poor as hell. Like they drinking water out the potholes. Cause I'm gonna tell you, that was my experience. I swear to God. Like, I'm not even lying. I'm talking about my experience. And then even taught me when I came here, I was wondering why a lot of people, even when I was going to college, a lot of people would ask me, oh, so back in Africa was lions and gorillas and cheetahs just roaming around. And I was like, if that was the case, would I be alive? Like if a lion was like literally, you know what I'm saying? But I was not taking it to heart, because I was like, sometimes I would say maybe it may be ignorance, but it may be the media as well. So it would be like, okay, I'm not going to take it to heart. They're probably just misinformed. You know what I'm saying? And they're just those people who are just ignorant, who want to just push their narrative, because they have been taught that, yo, people who are from there are really, they have it down bad. But when you actually go to Africa, they Maybachs there, the Lambos, this, like, yo, it's literally rich. It's just the media trying to keep, you know, different aspects of people in different places. So that's my opinion. Y'all can give me y'all opinion down in the comment section. Let me know, are y'all literally escaping? Are y'all living in America? Are y'all looking for a different type of life? Are y'all trying to go and see how life is in different places and try to adapt and just have a new mindset on life in general? Y'all let me know, because this is such an interesting topic. Like, and I could say there are a lot of variables that could be involved in this. So I would love to see what you guys have to say about this down in the comment section, because I think it's something that's literally happening, and I feel like we need to talk about more of these topics, because I'm gonna tell y'all, a lot of people don't watch the news because of this same thing about the media just editing parts, and you don't get to see the real deal. And that's why you see the government wanting to take TikTok, because guess what, that's quick fast information. Like, people would just put a video, go viral. Like if someone is going through something just happened, police brutality, is like right there. It's like everyday news, like without the editing. It's like live. So that's why I would say a lot of these apps may be going, and we gotta find different ways to keep us up to date, you know what I'm saying? And I like to keep the community up to date, to just see what's really going on, talk about real day topics and stuff that people really don't talk about, and are just, you know, going about their day like nothing is really going on in the world, but really things are going on and we're finding out, you know? So that's just what I got to say. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. I would say if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, share button, comment down in the comment section even where you're from. I would love to see where you guys are from. And I want to say this one more thing for everyone who's been buying the vendors list. I've been seeing you guys reviews. I really appreciate you guys. I want more of you guys to let me know what you think about the ultimate vendors list that a lot of people have been purchasing for $5 on my store. It's still on sale. I'll leave the link also in the down in the description for those who want to get updated on that ultimate vendors list that we talked about in the last 2 videos, so you guys can get up to date. I've really been getting good positive feedback, but I would love to see different people tell me their experience once they get their vendors and how it's going for them so far. So with that all being said, I hope everyone stays blessed. I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to turn on your post notifications and subscribe. Bye guys.
Hey Zuma, you taking off?